Jay-Z was basically being used as a puppet to bring him down. And look, I don't know if you heard this or not, but one of R. Kelly close supporters recently revealed to me that Jay-Z funded survivor R. Kelly. He was behind the people financially who came up with this idea to do surviving R. Kelly and to do the hotline.
We will ask President Trump to help us. We will. Because at this point, he seems to be the only person with both the power and the courage to stand up to these people and make it count. So I'll ask him now, I'll ask him again, I will ask the president to help us. Because R. Kelly's life is in danger right now, today.
Ronnie Bo just confirmed what Dame Dash been warning us about for years. And if what he's saying is true, Jay-Z might be worse than Diddy and R. Kelly combined. This ain't just no industry fallout or old label beef. We talking grooming, cover-ups, and a twisted betrayal that's been hiding in plain sight since the Rockefeller days. And now, it's all unraveling. Dame tried to warn us. Bo just added fuel to the fire. And it's time y'all finally heard the full story. In this video, I'm taking you deep into the real reason Dame Dash cut off Jay-Z, and it ain't just about Aaliyah or money. Shocking new claims from Ronnie Bo, who spent 21 months in prison with R. Kelly, saying Jay-Z played a major role in setting him up. Why Dame says he morally couldn't forgive Jay for doing business with R. Kelly, even though Jay knew Aaliyah was assaulted. And how Jay-Z might be the real puppet master behind some of the darkest moves in the music industry. And that's just the beginning. Because if what Dame's been saying is true, Jay knew Aaliyah was groomed and still teamed up with her abuser for a bag, that's betrayal on a whole different level. And now that Bo is speaking out, he just put Jay's whole legacy on the line. This story gonna shake y'all. So don't blink. Let's go back to the year that changed everything, 1996. Dame tried to warn us about back in 96, the world was vibing to Tupac and Biggie, and Michael Jordan was catching rings like candy. But behind the scenes, hip-hop was getting a brand new boss, a slick-talking Brooklyn hustler named Jay-Z. And with reasonable doubt, Jay made it clear he wasn't just another rapper. He was coming for the throne. But here's what the fans didn't see. While Jay was blowing up the charts, Dame Dash was the one breaking his back to make it happen. Dame, along with Kareem Biggs Burke, put up the cash, built the label, did the dirty work. Jay, he had the bars, but Dame had the vision. And it worked. Rockefeller became the hottest label in the game. But the second them millions started rolling in, Jay switched. Jay went from shouting out his brothers in interviews to making solo moves behind closed doors. And that's when the cracks started to show. While Dame was still trying to build a family, Jay was already thinking about how to leave it. According to Dame, one of the first red flags was Jay cozying up with Def Jam behind his back. While Dame was pushing for independence, Jay was trying to join the same system that once rejected them. That alone could have been betrayal, but it gets darker. Because around this time, R. Kelly re-enters the picture. And that's when Dame realized who Jay really was. Dame never kept it a secret. He hated R. Kelly. Why? Because Aaliyah told him the truth. According to Dame, Aaliyah confessed that R. Kelly assaulted her when she was underage. She didn't want to talk about it publicly, but the trauma was real. And Dame, he stood by her. So imagine his shock when he found out Jay was teaming up with the same man who hurt her. That's right. While Dame was grieving Aaliyah's pain, Jay signed off on a whole album collab with R. Kelly. The Best of Both Worlds dropped in 2002. And Dame says he wanted no parts of that mess. He didn't take a check, didn't show up to promo, didn't even want to be credited. Dame Dash revealed, it's morally wrong to do a project with someone we know raped my girl, or raped anybody for that matter.
He did a project with R. Kelly knowing that he had raped Aaliyah.
And now, years later, it's all coming out. Let's fast forward to recently. A man named Ronnie Bo, who did 21 months behind bars with R. Kelly, just exposed a bomb. He said not only was R. Kelly humble in prison, but that he believed Jay-Z set him up from the start.
They sent me there in May of 2021. And between like July of 19 and May of 2021, however much time it is, probably like 21, 22 months. I was there with R. Kelly the whole time.
According to Ronnie, R. Kelly called Jay a sellout and said he was part of a bigger conspiracy in the industry. Bo says there was a whole system built to take Kelly down, and Jay played his role perfectly. Ronnie's revelations fit perfectly, especially with reports circulating on how a prison staff allegedly tried to get Aryan Brotherhood members to kill R. Kelly to keep him quiet, and Kelly's legal team is now asking for a presidential pardon. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's a court filing. So now you gotta ask, what was Jay-Z hiding? Why was he so tight-lipped during surviving R. Kelly? Why was he the only one who refused to speak? Even Dame said, "That showed me, morally, we ain't the same." This is where it gets real uncomfortable. See, Dame Dash didn't just lose a business partner when Rockefeller collapsed. He lost a brother, and maybe even a woman he truly loved. Because when Aaliyah passed in 2001, it wasn't just grief Dame was battling with, it was betrayal. From the one man he thought he could trust. Because what Dame discovered after Aaliyah's death, it broke him. Let's rewind real quick. Jay-Z and Dame Dash were both in Aaliyah's orbit back in the late 90s. And while Dame officially started dating her in 2000, Dame says Jay was going hard trying to bag her first. He tried very hard, Dame told Page 6. "I didn't know Jay was trying to holler at her, but then it just happened like that. Everybody was trying. He was going hard." Now imagine that. Your brother tries to get with your girl. You win. She dies. And then he still teams up with her abuser R. Kelly for a bag?
Someone that he knows raped your partner's girl when she was a child. And you still say that had nothing to do with me, I'ma still get money with him. You know, that one was a wake-up call for real.
That's why Dame walked away. That's why he's still speaking out. Because to him, that moment showed everything. And it gets worse. Okay, this next part is gonna stir some things up, but the street's been whispering for years. Jay-Z's history with underage girls didn't start with Aaliyah. Before Beyonce, before the Grammys, before billionaire status, Jay was allegedly involved with Foxy Brown when she was still underage. Foxy was just 15 when she started rolling with The Rock. People close to the scene always side-eyed how tight they were. In fact, in an early interview, Foxy herself seemed to confirm she was around grown men at a very young age. And then came Beyonce. Jay-Z allegedly met Bey when she was just 16. She didn't start dating him publicly until 19. But by then, insiders say Jay had already been grooming her quietly behind the scenes, just like R. Kelly did with Aaliyah. Now, I ain't saying Jay is guilty, but when you line up the timelines, the similarities are impossible to ignore. R. Kelly married Aaliyah at 15. Jay met Foxy at 15. Jay met Bey at 16. Both Jay and R. Kelly worked on the Best of Both Worlds album, right after Aaliyah's death. Both were silent during the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries. That ain't coincidence. That's a pattern. And it's why Dame Dash says he's done. You ever wonder where the Fiesta video was filmed? That hit song with Jay-Z and R. Kelly, shot in the early 2000s? There's an old rumor that part of the video was filmed in the Virgin Islands, allegedly on or near Little St. James Island. Yeah, Epstein's Island. Now we don't have a confirmed location tag, but the visuals, the luxury yacht shots, and the secrecy surrounding the shoot raised eyebrows for years. And now, with all these Hollywood freak-off stories spilling, people are re-watching the video with new eyes. It's not just about the music no more. It's about power, control, grooming girls, and calling it showbiz. And Dame, he ain't holding back no more. He said, Jay knew Kelly raped Aaliyah, and he still moved forward. That told me all I needed to know.
And Jay was proceeding to still do business with R. Kelly. I went back and told Aaliyah, like, yo, you know, they're still doing projects, they got singles together, they're shooting videos, I don't want to go to the video.
He also hinted that Jay might have been at some of those wild Diddy parties, but he said he hopes Jay ain't guilty of all that. Yet still added,
I don't want to see that man go to jail. As much as he's been to me, you know, unfair toward, or not unfair, the way he be fucking with my money. I want to hope that that's the worst that he's been doing.
So you tell me, what does Dame know that he ain't fully said yet? So while all this dirt is coming out on Jay, R. Kelly is out here fighting for his life. Literally. In May 2025, R. Kelly's lawyer dropped a motion that shook the internet. They claim a member of the Aryan Brotherhood was offered a deal by prison staff. Kill R. Kelly, and we'll help you escape.
My office filed a motion seeking the immediate release of R. Kelly based on the solicitation of his murder.
The inmate, Michael Glenn Stein, is dying of terminal cancer. He says he refused to go through with it and warned R. Kelly instead. They offered me freedom to murder him. I chose to tell him instead. I'll take a polygraph if I have to. This is according to Stein's signed affidavit. Now Kelly's legal team is asking for a presidential pardon from Donald Trump, claiming this is proof he was targeted not just in the courtroom, but behind bars too.
Those who would ask whether we are doing all of this today as a means of seeking a presidential pardon from President Trump. And I want to address that directly. We will ask President Trump to help us.
They also allege prosecutors illegally accessed R. Kelly's private prison communications, using it to pressure witnesses. If proven true, this could blow the entire case wide open. So what was R. Kelly hiding, that they'd rather see him dead than speaking? Could it be what he knows about Jay? This right here, this is where everything comes full circle. Bo, Dame, and now R. Kelly's own legal team, they're all saying the same thing without even talking to each other. Something way bigger than Rockefeller went down behind the scenes, something Jay-Z's been running from for decades. Let's put it all together. Dame Dash said Jay-Z knew R. Kelly assaulted Aaliyah, but still made money with him. Jay-Z allegedly groomed Foxy Brown and met Beyonce when she was still underage. Ronnie Bo says Jay was part of the plot to bring Kelly down, and that Kelly felt targeted by the industry. R. Kelly's attorneys now claim feds tried to have him murdered behind bars to keep certain info from leaking. And Jay, still silent. No interviews, no apologies, no accountability. Ask yourself if all this was just gossip. Why won't Jay ever speak on it? Why didn't he appear in Surviving R. Kelly like John Legend did? Why didn't he denounce Kelly publicly? Why didn't he walk away from the bag if he really stood for the people? Because he didn't. He stood for himself. And now, that silence is catching up with him. See, for years people looked at R. Kelly as the monster, Diddy as the gatekeeper, Epstein as the devil in disguise. But Jay, he always played it clean. Too clean. He got Beyonce, Grammys, billion-dollar brands. He got a seat at the billionaire's table. Hell, he got a whole museum exhibit. But what if that was the point? What if Jay-Z is the final boss, the one who stayed hidden by design? Let's not forget, both Dame Dash and Ye warned us. Kanye said, Jay's a businessman, not a friend. He'll cut ties the second you become a liability. Dame said, I can't work with someone who does business with predators. It's not about money, it's morals. And Bo, he straight up said Jay-Z is part of the machine, a puppet master, a kingmaker, a man who knows how to play innocent while standing on top of the bodies. Look, this ain't about defending R. Kelly. What he did or didn't do is for the courts and God to judge. But the real question here ain't about Kelly. It's about who helped him and who hid behind him. Because if Jay-Z really turned a blind eye to what happened to Aaliyah, if he really used Rockefeller to push someone he knew was a predator, if he groomed artists, stole stories, and buried enemies with billionaire silence, then he ain't no hero. He's the villain that just dressed better. And Bo might have just cracked the whole thing wide open. So don't be surprised if the next big scandal don't involve Diddy, but Hav himself. If you made it this far, y'all real ones. This story is bigger than the music industry, bigger than hip-hop. This is about truth, power, and manipulation hiding in plain sight. Let me know in the comments. Do you think Jay-Z set up R. Kelly? Was Dame right all along? And is Hav next to fall? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell, because y'all already know we coming back with the next fire expose that they don't want you to hear.